Well, hello there. You guys are looking wonderful today. Pardon my attire. I have to go working here after lunch shortly, so I have not cleaned up for the day, but we're working on the 96 Camry once again. As you can see, I've already started. I put the car up on jack stands. I removed the wheel and I removed a cover, and we're going to be replacing that pesky power steering pump that burnt out on this car and that essentially totaled it for the previous owner. You can tell on the brake pad right there that the car sat for a while because there's a perfect rust spot where that was. I drove the car only 60 miles after purchasing it. It seemed to drive and run perfectly fine, only 150,000 miles, but I don't want to continue to drive it with a blow-in power steering pump because I don't want to cause any additional problems in the future. So today we're going to be replacing the power steering pump, and we're going to be putting on two new serpentine or accessory drive belts. One of those is for the power steering pump, the other is for the alternator and the AC and all that other good stuff. So if you're new to the channel and you don't know about my 96 Project Camry, go ahead and jump back and watch the past, I think 3 or 4 or 5 videos on it, and subscribe right now so that you don't miss out on any future content. So I have no idea how to replace a power steering pump on a 90s Camry, but today we're going to be learning together. I have the brand new pump right here that I bought on sale for I think $46, but these are around 60 bucks on Amazon, and I will link in the description below on them. But it seems pretty simple. It only looks like there's 3 belts. This one does not come with a pulley, so we're gonna have to pull the old pulley off and put on this new one. This new one is not froze up like the old one. And yeah, it looks like we attach a few hoses and should be good to go. Now the issue is what seems like a simple repair often is not. And I think that that's the case here with the Toyota 2200. And that's because that power steering pump is wedged down nice and tight in the motor right against the frame, and it might be pretty hard to access. Before we address the accessibility issue, we're going to start by taking off the first serpentine belt, and that has to be done by loosening the alternator, letting that belt bracket slowly fall down. Perhaps I'll do a video on this later so that you guys can see how to do it. But yeah, in order to get that belt off, we do have to loosen the alternator and let it fall a little bit. There's no tensioner on this car, which is kind of a bummer. Got the serpentine belt off. Super easy to do. You just drop that alternator and the bracket just a little bit, comes right out. If you need a video or a more dedicated video on how to do that, I have one coming up on my channel, so again, subscribe if you haven't already. That was the easy part. I'm gonna set this belt aside because I'm probably gonna keep it. Seems like it's in really good shape, but we're gonna be putting 2 brand new ones on. So now for the power steering pump. All right, when I say this is a tight repair, I'm not kidding. So I dropped the alternator, I pulled that belt off, but if you look in here just behind the timing belt numbers right there, there's a second pulley in the back. Maybe I can point it out with my ratchet extension here a little better. There's a second pulley in the back right there. The main belt sits here on these 3 pulleys. Come on these 3 pulleys, but that little pulley right there in the back drives the power steering pump that is right there. I think you can kind of see the pulley, maybe slightly out of focus, but that's the power steering pump. You cannot see the power steering pump from this side here unless you go under the car, which I will in just a second. So when I say it's a tight repair, it really is a tight repair. Underneath the car, harmonic balancer, that second pulley is behind it. This is your power steering pump. I think that everything is pretty much accessible here. I know that that bolt has to come off, and I know that there's a couple more behind the power steering pump here. If you look here, I cannot turn the pulley whatsoever because that pump is frozen up. are finally at the point where we have the old pump off, literally everything off of the old pump. I finally just had to take the impact wrench and break the hose off using it because it was quite stuck on. This pump is frozen up and very broken. Now, right here I have the new shiny pump, and we can see that they're very close to the same thing after a quick comparison. So I'm gonna first start putting the hose housing adapter on. I'm gonna be able to attach that hose as well, get it nice and tight. I will then put the pulley on and we'll work on getting that up and in there. This has been a nightmare. My goodness, it's only 2 bolts to mount and unmount the power steering pump, but that took forever, and I can finally put the belt on. So I got Bando belts. I keep getting attacked by wasps that are flying around constantly. I haven't got stung yet. So you put the belt on the power steering pump, you pull it tight, tighten the bottom, and then we'll come back and tighten the top, make sure that's gonna stay. Then we'll do the same thing with the serpentine belt. There's another wasp. So we got that power steering belt in. I've got the serpentine belt. I'm just gonna loosely put it on for now. I'm gonna torque the power steering belt, and then I'm gonna torque this belt and just double check everything, but we should be good after that to put the guard in place, the wheel in place, and in theory, fill it full of power steering fluid, and it should work perfectly. But unfortunately, because the exhaust isn't on yet, I haven't fixed that yet, and I don't wanna take it off jack stands quite yet. I'm not going to be test driving it today, nor do I really want to start it and try turning the wheels. So we'll probably save that for another day in an Instagram update. So if you're not following me on Instagram, link down below. Also, that big red button so you don't miss out on more content.
turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
And just like that, for you guys, we are done with this repair. A long time in the waiting and in the making and in the doing to get this little tiny power steering pump off the car. It's only 2 bolts and it's only 2 hoses that have to come off, but I can tell you that this is a repair that if you have to look up instructions to figure out how to do, this is not a repair that you should be doing. This is one that you're going to want to take into the shop and have them do with a lift. Now, it is somewhat difficult and somewhat complicated to do because there is no room to work in the car. I spent most of my time trying to figure out how to get stuff off of the pump, how to get the pump out, how to wiggle it down, how to get the hoses off, because of the fact that there is no room and there is very little access to the bolts and to the hoses. So again, if you have to look up instructions on how to do this, other than just kind of a quick reference, this probably is not a repair for you. This is one you're gonna want to take into the shop, because if you don't, it is very time consuming unless you work on these all the time. Now that we have the new power steering pump put in the 96 Camry, the car is nearing completion and nearing the time that we can pass it off to my parents, or actually now in this case, get rid of it, sell it, pass it off to a new owner that will enjoy it as a completely sorted commuter. I'm gonna leave the car up on jack stands for now because I do have a new flex pipe that I bought to fix the old rusted out exhaust that is currently off the car. I don't really want to take it down and drive it and then put it right back up. So I'm going to leave it up until I get time to swap this new flex pipe in. If you're looking forward to this video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now, because this is going to be an interesting one that you don't want to miss. I do apologize as well that this wasn't a repair video, but it is kind of really hard to show on camera because of the tight nature of the repairs, and I really needed to just get it done quickly. So in that case, I didn't film a repair video, but if you do have any questions about the repair, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I hope you guys are doing great. Get out, enjoy your automotive ownership. Hopefully it didn't ruin a Saturday like mine, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays.